In the face of an insurmountable issue, a problem, we find ourselves before a wall. With distress immeasurable, we crack and break from that weight. Or another option. We could simply just walk away.
嫌な時はな、逃げたっていいんだよ。
With the recency of the pandemic and the world locking us away, we waited for things to improve. And with that abundance of spare time and a want to move away to a time that was easier, remembering the joy we once had experienced when we had back then. Bringing us to our topic of today, nostalgia. Many of us have had those times when we were able to revisit a memory of the past through its presence in the present. Google's definition of the word being a sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past, typically for a period or place with happy personal associations. But I'd like to redefine that since my perception of the term is a bit different. Some parts of the stated definition run true, as I am no different with my wanting to revisit my childhood. And now that I have more freedom to do so than I did compared to back then, though I understand how things would no doubt be different from my initial presence that I had those many years ago. Which brings us to fulfillment versus non-fulfillment. I feel like nostalgia has something to do with one's familiarity with a particular topic, with that personal experience to evoke that nostalgia. The reason why this revisit is made may be due to how one would have back then failed to feel fulfilled when they initially come into contact with that particular subject. This concept reminded me of a quote from Mr. Jacksepticeye, a famous YouTuber, or hopefully you guys know him, on remember things as better.
Oh, everybody who's like, I miss the old Anthony or the old Sean.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't. You miss how you felt back when you were watching those videos at that time, because you were probably in school. And you probably just came home from school and just watched videos all day and had a great time. But now you're growing up. And now you have responsibilities. And now you're in college and you have a job.
I wanted to see how that sort of revisit was affected by certain elements of my nostalgia fulfillment and see what sort of emotional response or epiphany was a result of that re-experience. To grasp or come close to matching that feeling and being able to access that nostalgia, there are multiple ways to go about it. The two familiar methods are those in the realm of customer consumption, that of collecting and rewatching. In recent times, I've had a resurgence of collecting objects of the past, an apparent one on my channel being that of Beyblades, with the internet continuing to bring forth that Bey passion. This got me thinking on the topic of merchandising. When you have a TV show or a brand that targets children as an audience, children do not have open access to what we call in the business disposable income. What better way to make a profit off that brand but to make your brand more accessible to those around your audience, be that their parents, friends, etc. Even if they don't have access to those shows or little longing for the actual show itself, they're still free to buy and purchase that item. As mentioned earlier, Beyblades as a show, I'm not too big on, though I probably should watch again to learn more about the series, but I still love the product itself. More animated shows, such as Hello Kitty Purikya, no one actually watches the dang show, but will everyone buy their merch or call their merch cute? Yes, they will. Yeah. On the topic of shows, I know a lot of people have mentioned to me before that they've rewatched quite an abundance of occasions sometimes, and it got me thinking of how that plays into nostalgia. I, for one, am not too big of a rewatcher and don't do it as often unless I am extremely bored. This brings us to the other outlet of fulfillment of rewatching, the other side of this nostalgia that I was hoping to explore / fulfill today. I don't strive to watch those animes that I had watched previously, unlike those Beys or Nintendo games. Does it have to do with that monetary mindset that I've adapted in recent times? Probably. I do think that's got a lot to do with it, as that is one of the big reasons I got back into the swing of things in the first place. Market value for these items has retained fairly stagnant, even rising as they don't produce their older products anymore. I think a similar attribution there from commercial items and choice video games can be drawn to anime figurines with the price points that they maintain today, though I'm not sure on how the longevity of those affect their market value. I guess something a bit more long-standing like One Piece might retain its value much larger or longer because the series is still going and still goes till this day. An example of such a product, I guess more so towards my realm or specialty, would be this simple plastic steam for Beyblades that my father makes fun of for a lot. I'll let you try to guess the price of it. So give it a couple seconds here. Do we have a rough idea or estimate? We're looking at around $150 now for a product that used to cost 1,260 yen. That's around $12. Yeah. Anywho, with these thoughts in mind, surrounding merchandising being an outlet of revisiting the past, I sought to rewatch some memories of that past, exploring the world of Angel Beats once more. For those who haven't seen Angel Beats before, Angel Beats is an anime about those who met unfortunate early ends, meeting within an afterlife high school setting to fight on. That was a bit ambiguous since I'm trying my best to not spoil it for anyone who hasn't watched it, but I can for sure say that it was a great anime. Though then again, it did come out like a while ago, so like what's your excuse for not watching it? Though then again, I guess since then, it's been so long, but I've only watched it like twice, so. I know I got hooked on Isekai back then as well, which tends to have reincarnation as a basis for how their characters get enhanced to the max, with whatever powers they can bring into their new lives. But thankfully, Angel Beats is devoid of that, and it's not an Isekai, hopefully. Probably. When I rewatched Angel Beats, I'd forgotten a lot of the plot points, so it slowly came back to me as I watched every episode. It may have been due to how I had watched the anime before, but I didn't connect to these characters as much as I did previously had done. I do remember crying during the ending of it last time, though that wasn't the case this time. I still think it was an interesting and unique way to end things for the show, and it gave enough closure for myself. At least it was back then. Comparatively now, I yearn for more on what had happened and an explanation on the show of its ending. This could be the nostalgia kicking in with how I seek the details that I might perceive as missing, with my current experience not being the same as it previously was, looking to the extra OVAs and Reddit plays for more answers likewise. Nostalgia could have a lot to do with the lack of closure that we might have felt when we were younger, but not able to replicate that feeling now. That is, in a sense, a part of growing up and experiencing change. Your perspective of the world being different than it previously was. Not to say that these nostalgic moments don't happen though. Summer Wars, an anime that we had watched in class, actually happened to get an emotional response out of me, much more compared to Angel Beats. Imagine a college student just waiting for his next class to start while watching through his Zoom call, bawling his eyes out because the nostalgia do be hitting hard on the meaning of particular scenes of the movie. Summer Wars, not a show, but a movie, was one that I actually rewatched a lot, unintentionally. I failed for a lot of instances, but rewatched nonetheless. It's not really a film that I strive to rewatch, but instead just tends to happen. With the notable moments within the film hitting even harder than they had before. One of such was the one scene with the grandmother calling everyone up. I haven't been able to see my grandmother for a while, so when I saw her giving it her all to uplift the spirits of her family, that was a joyous moment that I may not have been able to appreciate before. It might have been a mix of not being able to see my grandmother for a while due to the pandemic and all, from both Japan and Malaysia, but also the fondness of the family bond that they had stemming from just this one person for the entire family.
諦めないことが肝心だよ。これはあんたにしかできないことなんだ。あんたならできる。できるって。
The scene, along with many others, were memorable and nostalgic in their own unique way. I don't long for such scenes, but those moments are complete in their own sense, and I feel joy from them whenever I do revisit them. Nostalgia is different for everyone, and with what that concept pertains to will change the perspective you take on it, be it the lack of nostalgia or fulfillment for that nostalgia. With the rush that a lot of us may take on to pursue a future that we may not be able to perceive yet, it's nice to take a step back and look at where we came from with remembrance of those memories of importance that help to build who we are today. Thank you guys for listening, sus watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was my project for RJ302, or intro to anime. Hope to see you guys in some other of my videos maybe. Or I just hope you guys have a great day. See you around.